we think what we've done, what we've framed in the second quarter of the year, fits with our today's understanding of the situation moving forward. Okay. Now there is uncertainty, there is volatility, and we have to stay very humble about what will really happen. But would the scenario of a slow recovery, but a recovery of the passenger traffic earlier on domestic flights than on long-distance flights, would this happen? We think we are appropriately calibrated.
I hate that phrase, going back to normal, because you know and I know there will be no going back to normal per se. But when do you think you will be starting to look at increasing production, and when you think traffic will be back to what we had seen before?
Yeah, so these are very important questions. We took a view entering into the pandemic that we thought, and we still think was rather prudent, and therefore the traffic figures that we see in July are not inconsistent with the assumptions we made at that time. That's why our rates remain stable, because we think the scenario that we see unfolding is not far from what we had assessed so far.
What year? What year?
Yeah, so what we think is that the 2019 traffic, we think we'll see it again in RPKs between 2023 and 2025. But we think there's a big difference between the domestic flights and the long range, for many reasons. We could go into it if you wish. And we know as well, that's an observation, that there was a very different market structure on single aisle before pandemic than on the wide bodies that was already with some overcapacity. And you remember that our competitor was already taking the rates down, entering into the pandemic. So to be more specific, we think that it's very likely, or it's reasonably likely, that we would start considering ramping up again the production rate of the 320 family in 2022. And we think on the wide bodies, it will be as well somewhere between 23 to 25. There is more uncertainty at this point in time on the wide bodies than what we see on the single aisle.
Let's talk wider about the travel experience and what you... this is crystal ball stuff, I understand. But what do you envisage if we accept, that the love of travel is not going to go away? The wanderlust to go out and see. As the manufacturer of aircraft, how do you now take this crisis, factor it into your future, and what do you expect the future of travel to look like now?
Yeah, you know, it's important to remember what happened after September 11. We thought we would never travel again in the same way. Passenger experience would be damaged forever. And actually, we have adapted to the new situation, to the new security systems and measures, and they've become more efficient moving forward. So I think we went in aviation from safety to safety and security, and now we go safety, security, health, and we are making progress. And I think we will learn a lot from COVID-19. We'll be much better prepared to the next thing that could happen, and we'll be back to a different normal life. But what will we think is the new normal? So I think, yes, we'll be back to normal, not the normal of before, but the normal of the future.
Tell me what it was like. I mean, you've been in the job a while, but suddenly this happens and you are reversing the company in a way that, you know, the exact opposite of everything that the plan was. Ramping up now becomes shutting down or slowing down. New orders becomes deferrals. What was it like?
Well, I like your question. What has happened was nowhere on our risk maps. You know, we do all kinds of risk scenarios and what if, and we think we are very creative in inventing crazy scenarios. And that one was nowhere. All airlines impacted at the same time across the world. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Now, yes, we had to go back to the drawing board, look at the magnitude of the problem, try to invent solutions, sit down, think, reflect, make decisions, move forward, communicate a lot, talk to many airlines, many suppliers, many governments to navigate a situation that was unprecedented. Well, we've not done anything wrong. It's COVID-19. It comes from the outside. You just have to accept it and do your very best in that situation.